Hey everyone, what's the biggest history myth in the USA that just won't die? I'll bet you've seen it. You're scrolling through social media and a video pops up saying the first president wasn't George Washington, it was John Hanson. And those videos get tons of likes and shares, but is it actually true? Spoiler alert, nope, not at all. And today I'm going to show you the real story in just 3 minutes. Let's travel back in time. The year is 1781. The United States has just won the Revolutionary War, but there's no constitution yet. Instead, there are the Articles of Confederation, which basically set up a loose league of states. This government had a Congress, and that Congress needed someone to run the meetings. That person was called the President of the United States in Congress assembled. One of the men who held this job was John Hanson from Maryland. And that's where the whole myth comes from. People see that title, President of the United States, and think it's the same job as today. But it had absolutely nothing to do with the modern presidency. John Hanson couldn't command the army, he couldn't sign laws into effect, and he couldn't make major executive decisions. His main role was to preside over congressional sessions, kind of like what the Speaker of the House does now. He was essentially the chairman of the board. In fact, a new one was elected every single year. And there were actually about 10 of these so-called presidents before Washington ever took office. Now here's the game changer. In 1789, the brand new United States Constitution was ratified. This created a completely new, much stronger federal government. For the first time, the country decided it needed a real head of state, an executive with actual power. And who did they unanimously elect to be the very first person to hold this new, powerful office? George Washington. That's why every single history book, every dollar bill, and every school teaches us that George Washington was the first president of the United States. End of story. So why does the John Hanson myth even exist? Well, it got a huge boost back in the 1980s when a politician from Hanson's home state of Maryland pushed this idea, likely to bring a little historical fame to his state. And once it hit the internet, it spread like wildfire. So let's wrap it up. Before George Washington, there was no president of the United States as we know it. There was just a congressional chairman named John Hanson, who had about as much real power as a high school hall monitor. If you just learned something new and are thinking, wow, I never knew that, do me a favor, hit that like button. Subscribe for more history myth busting, and let me know in the comments. George Washington was the first. Thanks for watching.